Hello and welcome. My name is Ira and I'm here to present today two new junk journals, blank junk journals or clean junk journals out of the line that I make with the help of handmade paper. The covers are made with handmade paper, and you know that I make recycled paper, or if you can call it recycled or handmade paper myself, and I keep using a lot of natural stuff in it. So after I'm done with the flip through for these two journals, I will also add a link to this handmade or homemade recycled paper tutorial or process video that I have finally recorded and downloaded, and you can find the process of creating maybe this piece in particular. I just don't remember exactly which two sheets were made in that online tutorial. So let's get going. So the first one is, this is actually I called it Rustic mahogany probably, and you can see it's made with the cover is cardstock, heavyweight grade cardstock, a little bit of stamping, 4 signatures hand sewn, and the spine is strengthened with double layering of fabric. In this case it's cotton, and so the handmade paper on the first page or on the first cover is made with rose petals, in fact, and you can see that these were some strange rose petals because they were both white and red rose, and they gave some shade, some very interesting color. Then there are some hollyhock, yes, hollyhock seeds. You can see them here. These are the hollyhock seeds from my garden, and the color or the dye is used here is the oak tree, oak tree cork, or just bark. Yes, it's milled, and we use it for as a medicinal plant. And here I used it as a tea, and the liquid is added here as well. And that's it. And then this is the stem with the leaves, some stem of the grass that is fixed and sealed onto the surface. The second part is just a piece of handmade paper. This time it has this waffle towel texture, and some petals, penny petals from my garden. Inside, these two journals are almost the same. I mean, they're absolutely different, but the principle is the same. So this is the picture, the illustration from the old Botanical Russian book. Some pages are left non-distressed because I decided to add some change here, some variety, and more than that, probably some of you would prefer to write sometimes on just plain paper, but they all still look quite aged according to the color palette, not to this crinkled and wrinkled by feel of them. And here is the date, 12th of February, when it was made. So the pages are slightly stamped for you to be able to write there, to keep your notes, to take, maybe to paint something, maybe to make some sketches, botanical sketches, whatnot. And I inserted in both of these journals, I inserted a piece, a page from a Russian botanical, vintage magazine, which is called Young Botanical Lover. This is one page, and this is This is the form from my university job. This is actually the school diary of my daughter, the leftovers. And this is one more. I started to add this type of addings. This is a piece or a page from a book on Belarusian national folk poetry. And actually here is a song in Belarusian language. It's about some trees, about the garden. The signatures are hand sewn, the second part of the poem, and more stamping. You can see that the general color pattern is stamped black and mahogany, in fact. And that's the end of signature one. So this is transparent, in fact it's baking paper, and some music, real music notes sheet. And this is one more page from a magazine on plants, but this is quite modern, it's 2009. Some more printing, one more additional stuff I added here on the farm. It's called On the Farm, and this is actually a piece of book with quizzes. I will show you what kind of quizzes, and I will probably tell how I would use it, but you probably can use it. We can use it actually as, like, you know, I don't know, fortune telling. The first word that you can see here can be the keyword for your day, or you can think a question, and the first word that you see in this arrangement can be the first the answer to this question. But as far as I understand, the amount of words is limited here, so it's up to you how to use it. Actually, the topic is farm, and somehow you can find something regarding nature as well here. Some more stamping, the second part of the page, you know, composition, different. I keep collecting different types of composition books, notebooks, and I coffee dye them and then use pages because they create a nice assortment and variety. A tiny bookmark, and one more page from another quiz book. It's called IQ tests. The instructions are given in Russian, but definitely I think you can logically find the answers here and the tasks as well. I mean, this is for you if just you would like to add some interest to your journaling process. This one, actually, I invented the idea with how to use this crossword grids long ago. I have this specific stamp, and I quite often use it now. And I first used it a couple of years ago for my own journal. So, you know, I use it in the following way. As I use it in a travel journal, but you can use it for whatever. I write a word here, like a keyword. That can be the name of the city I visited, or the name of the plant that I would like to talk about. Just something memorable, really, kind of memorabilia. And there I write like horizontal or vertical, and I write the numbers, and then I don't write the word here, it's only left here, but here I write the memory, or like, yes, the memory of this event or of this thing, what it was like, what it referred to. And it works perfectly well because it's kind of a journaling, and the same stuff. You look at the word here in a couple of years and you try to remember what you meant, and then you look for the definition which tells you the exact memories. Actually, for me, it worked perfectly well. You can use it as a botanical reference if you prefer to use this book as a plant or pressed flower holder, or just as it can be like your keywords or your word of the day, word of the year, just any ideas. And if you suggest any more ideas on how this can be used, I would also be grateful. So please feel free to comment in the comment section how to do that. Okay, more stamping and different textures, different images, and we are moving to the end of this signature. You see I have a big collection of botanical stamps. I have been collecting them for like all the time, and this is the page from an old Russian English dictionary, English-Russian dictionary, so you can get it. Is quite interesting, and you can get some ideas of some Russian words if you're interested in that. And this is, as you remember probably from my previous journals, this is the form filled by tractor drivers, right? Tractor, yeah, in country farmers probably. So the point I'm trying to make is that in fact the stamps. So because I remember that somebody on Facebook asked me about the names of it's impossible. I've been collecting these stamps for like maybe 7 to 10 years, something like that, and I started collecting them mostly with local producers or manufacturers or some online stores. So meanwhile, while talking about stamps, I will introduce the second one. This is called Winter Georgina, right? And it's again, this is the flower that grows in my garden, and the cover is, this is handmade paper with peony petals, also from my garden. And this one, it has waffle texture. This one is just the same, but no texture. It's just the natural texture of the second part. And I decided to make it slightly different in terms of texture, less flat, add some like rough edges to it. Inside it's almost the same. I mean, it's different, but the same at the same time, the principle. So I will tell you about the stamps, as many of you wanted to know. So the stamps. Some of the stamps came from eBay, and actually I bought from original artists. I mean the authors, the artists who created them. For example, some of the stamps were stamps came from Australia even, and that was the guy called Leonid. I don't know the name, I don't remember the name of his shop, I don't remember anything about him now, but I bought a lot of stamps from him, and if I come across any, I would show them. And then many of the stamps are locally produced. I mean, locally, not in Belarus. In Belarus, we don't have this kind of manufacturing at all. Our country is far from this. This one is from Australia, from Leonid that I told you about. And so I keep buying online. I have a lot of online, well, I am in a couple of online groups who perform so-called common like purchase. I'm not sure what to call it, whether you have the same or not. And it means when a group of people joins together and make one order in one shop, and it turns out to be a bulk order, and therefore you get a discount. This one also is from Australia. You get a discount, and then naturally it takes a lot of time and you pay extra interest to the organizer and so on, but at least I get these stamps at least somehow. And some of them are Ukrainian, some of them are Russian. Some of the stamps still come from, for example, this is this stamp, and this is a collection of medicinal stamps from a Russian online store, and they have a physical store somewhere in St. Petersburg. And so this story of stamps is so long that I can't even guess how I can now sort them all out. And I used to keep my stamps. This is, you know, the puzzle as well. You don't have to be bothered, or you don't have to worry about not very clear image. As you understand, I try not to stamp it too clearly, and more than that, the stamp itself is vintagey. So if you don't see some numbers or something, you can easily write them in yourself and use it in any way you would like to. Speaking of stamps, I just forgot what I wanted to say. In fact, yes, if you only could say how I keep them or how I store them, I used to store them separately in different packaging. Then I used to store them in CD cases, you know, plastic cases. Then I decided to, and now, well, long story short, now I keep them in a big plastic box without anything like any foundation, any plastic. I put them there, and yes, I know I keep them in a very messy way, but as the collection is too big, and if you keep them sorted out, I have no chance to use all of them. And I wanted to start using this whole assortment, and I am doing that. Now I just pick a stamp not looking at it, or I can rearrange them in topics, in themes, and pick the ones that I really use and need. And they work fine. I think, yes, they say that the stamps go like somehow go off like that, but I don't care about that. First of all, for this, during these 10 years or 7 years, I just don't remember, nothing has yet got off. All the stamps work perfectly well. They are not sticky, but I don't use any base anymore, any acrylic blocks or anything like that. No, I don't use it anymore. I use the stamps as they are, and then everything works perfectly well. Even when I use distress inks, I sometimes even forget to clean them, because when I have like 100 of stamps used in one project, in a couple of journals like this, I just can forget. And then actually nothing went wrong, and nothing goes wrong now. And in fact, it's okay. I think for my life, for my crafting life, it will be enough, and my daughter doesn't show any sign of interest in this kind of craft. Thank you for watching. This is the end of my first flip through. As again, the process video, how I made this, and how I keep making, the link to this process video is gonna be given at the end of a great end of winter. You can ask and suggest any ideas on how to fill this journal in the comment section, and I will be really grateful for that. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.